She's bold, brash, and built for contact, but Ilona Maher isn't just another bruiser in the back row. She's become the face of American women's rugby, blending raw athleticism with tactical IQ, all while dragging the sport into the mainstream one viral moment at a time. In this deep dive, we're decoding the rise of Ilona Maher, how a former nursing student from Vermont became a Rugby World Cup standout and a game-changer for USA Rugby. From her Sevens roots to her impact in the 2025 tournament, this is more than a player profile. It's the story of how one athlete is helping rewrite the playbook for rugby in America, from Burlington to the big stage. When you think of an elite rugby player, Burlington, Vermont probably isn't the first place that comes to mind. Yet that's exactly where Ilona Maher's story begins. On the fields of New England, far from the rugby heartlands of New Zealand, England, or even California. Born in 1996, Maher wasn't raised in a rugby environment. She came up through a sporting culture more familiar to most Americans: basketball, field hockey, and later collegiate strength training. It wasn't until she attended Quinnipiac University, a small school in Connecticut, that rugby found her. Or perhaps more accurately, rugby realized what it had stumbled upon. At 5 feet 10 inches and over 200 pounds of muscle, Maher wasn't just physically imposing, she was explosive, agile, and surprisingly fast for her size. Within her first season playing rugby in college, she helped Quinnipiac win multiple NCAA national championships, anchoring the midfield as a powerful centre. By 2018, she was on the radar of USA Rugby and made her debut on the World Rugby Sevens series that same year. It's worth noting, Maher's rapid rise wasn't the product of a long club system or age-grade academy. It came through raw athleticism, intense work ethic, and a steep learning curve. This is critical because it makes her story deeply American. In a country where rugby often exists on the periphery of mainstream sport, Maher is proof that elite talent can emerge from non-traditional pathways. She was named 2017 M.A. Sorensen Award finalist, given to the top US collegiate women's rugby player. And more importantly, she didn't just enter the game, she committed to it. Training with the USA Sevens residency program in Chula Vista, she developed the core skills required at international level: tackling technique, breakdown work, and structured attack. Skills that don't always come naturally to crossover athletes. Ilona Maher didn't grow up dreaming of wearing a USA Rugby jersey, but within a few years she not only earned that jersey, she became one of its most recognizable faces. And as we'll see, her story is far from ordinary. Ilona's unique playing style. If you've ever watched Ilona Maher play, you'll know she's not your average rugby player. There's a reason she turns heads every time she takes the field, and it's not just because of her presence on social media. Her game is built on raw physicality, explosive pace, and something rarer in the modern game: fearless intent. At her core, Ilona is a ball-carrying wrecking ball. Whether playing as a centre in 15s or as a forward in 7s, she thrives in contact. Her low centre of gravity and powerful leg drive make her exceptionally difficult to bring down one-on-one. Opponents often need 2, sometimes 3, defenders to stop her momentum, and even then, she frequently gets the offload away. But what truly makes her different isn't just brute strength, it's her speed through space. In a game increasingly dominated by structure and systems, Maher excels in broken play. Give her a mismatch, say a prop stuck in the midfield, and she'll exploit it. She's not afraid to go wide, back herself, or attack the shoulder of a retreating defender. Then there's the intangibles. Ilona plays with emotion. You can see it in how she celebrates a turnover, how she encourages teammates, how she barks defensive instructions at the line. Her energy is infectious, and it lifts those around her. Coaches often describe her as the emotional engine of the team, a player who sets tone and tempo even when she's not the designated leader. Her work at the breakdown is also underappreciated. Though known for her ball carrying, Maher is increasingly being used as a jackal threat in sevens, targeting isolated ball carriers and forcing turnovers, especially in key defensive moments. All this combines to make her a nightmare to defend, and an invaluable weapon for USA Rugby. She's not just strong, she's smart, adaptable and unrelenting. And when the stakes are high, she wants the ball in her hands. A global debut on the Olympic stage. The delayed Tokyo 2020 Olympics weren't just a milestone in Ilona Maher's rugby career, they marked her arrival on the world stage. For many American fans, it was the first time they'd seen rugby sevens in prime time. And for Ilona, it was a coming-out party, not just as a player, but as a personality. At just 24 years old, Maher was one of the newer faces on a US team loaded with experience, including stalwarts like Nia Tapper and Chris Thomas. But she didn't fade into the background. She made an immediate impact with her physical carries, big hits, and relentless defensive work. In the pool matches, she was one of the standout performers, particularly against China and Japan, where her line breaks and offloads consistently gained ground and created try-scoring opportunities. But what truly set her apart during the Olympics wasn't just her play, it was her ability to connect with a wider audience. In a tournament held under pandemic restrictions without fans in the stands, Maher took to social media, particularly TikTok, to share behind-the-scenes moments with surprising vulnerability and humor. Suddenly, rugby had a relatable, charismatic American face. Her posts went viral. Within days, her following exploded into the hundreds of thousands. She wasn't doing dance trends or gimmicks, she was showing the daily grind of Olympic athletes, the camaraderie among teammates, and the nervous excitement of representing your country on the biggest stage in sport. It was a watershed moment for women's rugby, and the US millions who had never seen a rugby ball were now watching her highlights. NBC Sports even featured her content during Olympic coverage. And while Team USA didn't medal, falling to Great Britain in the quarterfinals, Maher's individual stock soared. For Ilona, the Olympics were more than a tournament. They were proof she belonged at the highest level, and confirmation that rugby, if told the right way, could capture American hearts. On and off the field. After Tokyo 2020, Ilona Maher had two choices: fade into the background like so many Olympic one-hit names, or double down on rugby, on training, and on her platform. She chose both. From 2021 to 2024, Maher didn't just maintain her profile, she elevated it. And critically, she backed it up with performances on the field. With the USA Women's Sevens team navigating a period of transition, Maher became a cornerstone. Physically, she grew stronger, leaner, quicker off the mark, more dominant in contact. Her tackle success rate climbed in the 2022-23 HSBC World Rugby Sevens series, and she became one of the top offloaders in the circuit, consistently drawing defenders and freeing up teammates. Offensively, she was no longer just a crash ball runner. She began linking play, distributing off first phase, and even slotting in as a midfield distributor. Her rugby IQ matured. In 2023, during the Langford Sevens tournament, she scored a crucial double against Australia in the group stages and then set up 2 tries in the quarter-final against Ireland. Those moments weren't just highlight reel material, they were match-defining. Meanwhile, Maher's off-field impact only grew. She became a prominent advocate for mental health in sport, sharing candid experiences about pressure, body image, and confidence. Her honesty struck a chord with athletes and fans alike. She partnered with organizations like Athletes for Hope, spoke at collegiate events, and continued using TikTok and Instagram not for vanity, but for connection. Her blend of humor and sincerity was rare and resonant. Importantly, she also helped reshape how women's rugby was marketed. She wasn't polished and corporate, she was raw, real, and distinctly American. Brands noticed, fans noticed, and suddenly young athletes weren't just watching for tries, they were watching for leadership. By late 2024, Maher wasn't just a squad member. She was a culture driver, both in the USA setup and in the broader rugby community. And when the 2025 World Cup was approaching, the question wasn't whether she'd be selected, it was how much she'd shape the campaign. Redemption, rivalries, and reality. The 2025 Rugby World Cup loomed large, a stage where legacies were forged and dreams either soared or fell short. For Ilona Maher, it wasn't just another tournament. It was a defining opportunity to cement her place not only as a key player for the USA women's team, but as one of the standout figures in the history of American rugby. The build-up to the World Cup was intense. After years of growth, setbacks, and relentless work, Maher faced the ultimate test of her skill, resilience, and leadership. The USA squad itself is a compelling mix of youthful energy and seasoned pros, all hungry to rewrite their narrative on the world stage. And Maher, with her experience in both 7s and 15s, is a vital glue holding it all together. One of the defining storylines is the fierce rivalry against traditional powerhouses like New Zealand and England. The USA has always been considered an underdog, but the gap has been closing. Maher's performances in the lead-up qualifiers have showcased a player ready to step up, combining raw physicality with sharp decision-making under pressure. But beyond the on-field battles, there's a deeper layer of redemption. Maher missed out on key matches due to injury in previous campaigns, fueling her motivation to return stronger. Her physical preparation, mental toughness, and tactical awareness have been honed with one eye firmly fixed on World Cup success. Media coverage around the tournament also shifted, spotlighting Maher as a face of the team. An athlete who embodies the spirit of modern American rugby, gritty, relentless, and fiercely proud. For viewers and fans who tuned in, she represented the bridge between traditional rugby toughness and the evolving style that blends speed, skill, and versatility. As the tournament kicked off, the question wasn't just how far the USA will go, but how Maher will rise to the occasion. Will she be the difference maker in tight moments? Will her leadership galvanize a squad hungry to shock the world? All eyes were on her, and the answer will echo far beyond 2025. Her World Cup moment and its ripples. Ilona Maher entered the 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup with eyes already on legacy. What many would see as the guardrails of her career. Will she justify the hype on the biggest stage? Her performances and the USA's journey offer early evidence of her impact lasting beyond any single tournament. The USA's campaign was heavily tested. They opened against England and were overpowered 69-7 in front of 42,723 fans. England bagged 11 tries in a dominant display. That result underscored how far the Eagles still had to go. But Maher's presence didn't diminish. She earned her full 15 World Cup debut in that match. And though it was a baptism of fire, she showed grit. In tackles, in work rate, in spatial awareness under pressure. Next came a thrilling Pool A match against Australia. The USA and Australia fought to a 31-31 draw, one of the more dramatic results of the tournament. In that match, Maher offered balance. She contributed in both attack and defence, leveraging her 7s instincts to support ball recycling and defensive line integrity. That match became a microcosm. When USA hit stride, Maher's influence was visible. Though the USA didn't make the semi-final heights that powerhouses like England and Canada pursued, their team showed flashes of identity. They weren't overwhelmed in every match. The depth, and especially the moments where Maher made turnovers, came to define their competitive edges. Maher's legacy then is not only in the matches she played, but how she pushed the boundaries of American women's rugby. She stood for more energy, more risk, more willingness to take responsibility in tight moments. That kind of legacy is already rewriting expectations for what USA women's rugby can deliver on the world stage. Ilona Maher's World Cup style. The 2025 World Cup was a spotlight not just on results, but on individual character. And Ilona Maher offered a clear window into her strengths under pressure. In matches where others faltered, her game held up. Her speed was noticeable. Even when defences were set, she could burst through blindside channels or show out wide support, turning defence into sudden attack. That pacing was especially helpful against thicker, more physical setups. It turned what might have been slow phases into quick turnovers. Her work rate across the tournament was relentless. In the Australia draw and in tougher matches, Maher was often among the top tacklers for the USA, putting her body on the line repeatedly. She also dropped into breakdowns, wrestling for turnovers or slowing opposition ball, tasks more often assigned to back rows with longer test experience. Ball handling became a differentiator. She offered clean offloads in crowded ruck edges and kept phases alive. Her background in 7s showed she wasn't just a carrier, she was a link. She frequently connected forward momentum to backline flow. Composure in pressure moments mattered, especially in matches that swung. In tight periods, Maher didn't shrink. She made safe choices, held her shape, and minimized costly errors. That poise distinguished her in a USA team sometimes chasing control. Throughout the 2025 World Cup, Ilona Maher manifested what many expect from a modern back row. Dynamic, intelligent, unafraid, and consistently contributing in every facet. Running, defense, breakdown, support. Her World Cup performance reinforced that her style is not an experiment, but a matured blueprint for how USA women's rugby can be played at the elite level. Future prospects. With the 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup now behind us, the focus turns to what lies ahead for Ilona Maher and USA Rugby. The tournament, won by England, was a challenging proving ground for the American team, which showed grit and flashes of brilliance, but ultimately fell short of reaching the semi-finals. Yet, for Maher, the experience reinforced her role as a cornerstone of USA Rugby's future. At 29, Ilona is entering the prime of her career. The World Cup showcased her growing influence, not just through her physical contributions, but through her leadership and tactical awareness. She has matured into a key mentor for younger players, blending performance with guidance, a combination USA Rugby desperately needs as it aims to close the gap on traditional rugby powers like New Zealand, England, and France. USA Rugby's women's program has made steady progress, though it still faces challenges from more established nations. The foundations laid by players like Maher, alongside increased investment and improved development pathways, signal a brighter future. The 2025 World Cup was a milestone, highlighting areas for growth while proving the team's potential. Moving forward, USA Rugby will lean heavily on versatile players like Maher, who bring adaptability and rugby intelligence, critical in a sport that continues to evolve rapidly. The emphasis will be on fitness, mental toughness, and tactical flexibility, lessons reinforced by the World Cup campaign. Off the field, Ilona's rising profile remains invaluable, helping to attract attention, resources, and new fans to the sport in the US. Her journey resonates widely, embodying what's possible when passion meets opportunity in American rugby. Looking beyond 2025, the story of Ilona Maher and USA Rugby is far from finished. With talent, heart, and determination, they are poised to write compelling new chapters on the international stage, ones that will inspire future generations and elevate American rugby to new heights. Ilona Maher isn't just building a career, she's building a movement. Her impact on the field is undeniable, but it's her influence off it that could shape the future of rugby in the US for decades to come. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the game, her story is a reminder of where passion, grit, and purpose can take you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your rugby mates. And let us know in the comments, who should we decode next?